Are you looking for some unique and inspiring advice on how to blast off your real estate career? Stay tuned for today's episode where Daniele Lundin shares with us how she transitioned into real estate after raising 4 children, joining the broker she had used for the past 20 years. Daniele gives incredible tips and tricks that anyone getting started or looking for inspiration in real estate will put to use immediately.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. I am your host, Tina Lapp, and I've been in real estate education for over 30 years, helping individuals enter and thrive in their real estate career.
And I'm Mara Madge. I've been a licensed broker for 20 years now, working and teaching pre-licensing in several states to up-and-coming agents.
We are here today with Daniele Lundin. Daniele, will you take a moment to introduce yourself, where you live, and what company you're with?
Absolutely. I'm Daniele Lundin, as you've already said. I'm with Bryan Realty Group, and I live in Delaware and sell the whole state of Delaware.
That's great, Daniele. And so what were you doing before you got into real estate?
Oh, wow. What was I doing? I spent 20 some years raising my 4 children who are now adults. And then right before I jumped into real estate, I worked for Autism Delaware, which I really love, my autistic adults. I was a direct support professional for them in their jobs in the community.
Okay, so you're doing this. How'd you come upon real estate? Why? Like,
Oh my
how'd you
gosh.
get attracted? Yeah.
This goes way back. So 25 years ago, fun fact, my broker, Andrew Bryan, was my real estate agent. And we bought and sold with him about 4 times over and over again. And we absolutely loved it. And I always loved real estate. I'm obsessed with houses and decorating and all the things that have to do with homes. And so I just always have loved it. But obviously I wanted to raise my children. It was important for me to stay home. And I was blessed enough to be able to do that. So I just waited until they were off doing their own thing and they graduated high school. I was like, it's my turn and this is what I want to do. I want to sell houses and I love it.
Wow, that's incredible that was the broker that you worked with after all these years.
I always told him I was going to come work for him one day and he's like, come on, girl, I got you.
And you did it. That's great. So was there a moment or something that happened that you said, like, now's the time? Kids being gone, it sounds like, and just...
Yep. My son was graduating high school. My last son, I had 4 kids, like I said, 2 girls and 2 boys, and the last one was graduating, and I was just like, what am I going to do with my life after they graduate? Because that was all I did, was take care of them and love on them. And I went into Autism Delaware right after because I have an autistic adult family member that I will maybe be responsible for someday. So I just wanted to get experience in that field and know what I was doing if that ever came to fruition. And then I was just like, I just have always wanted to do real estate. And I told Andrew that I would be with him someday. So I just went through and decided that's what I was going to do.
So that's so interesting that you actually ended up working for the broker that you actually used several times over. I find that that's a big theme for many new agents, is that they actually join a brokerage with the same agent that they've been working with. So can you walk us through the process of you getting your real estate license? We know what you were doing at the time, but what were the steps that you took to get that education?
Sure, absolutely. So I actually went through the course twice. Um, One time I went in person, and I ended up passing the classes, but I never went and took my state or national exam. And so I did it a second time, and that time was during COVID-ish. So I decided that I would do it online, and it took me forever to get through the classes because that takes great discipline to do it online. So I just did it online and went through the process and just made sure that I went through and took my national and state exam and didn't waste my money that time.
As a real estate instructor myself for pre-licensing, I find that a lot of students do like take it once or take it again, and then they have to find some time to actually make it work because you do have to devote yourself to studying and all of that, which can be hard. But COVID obviously gave you an opportunity to slow down and get that done. So you took an online program. So how did you choose the school that you went with?
It was just the highly recommended one. It was CE. It's called the CE courses. I think that's what it's called. And it was just the top rated real estate course online at the time.
So you just basically like went online and looked at some reviews,
yeah, just
like that.
I think I asked somebody who was in real estate already how they did it, and they just told me.
Great. And so during that time period, did you face any sort of challenges with studying, the education process, the licensing process, like filling out your application and stuff like that?
So obviously studying and taking the test, it was nerve-wracking. I hate taking tests. So yeah, it was like, oh, okay. So I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about, and understood what I was getting into. It helped that I had already been through it once in person too, but there was definitely challenges in just staying the course and getting it done for sure.
It does take a lot of commitment. You are absolutely right about that.
Yeah. So Danielle, you did it twice. So now you know your stuff, right? Coming out of that exam, you know your stuff. What were your expectations? Like going into your first year, you're leaving behind some, several years of your work, and now you're in real estate. What'd you expect?
So I actually expected great things. I thought I would be really good at it, and it would be an easy thing to do. No stress. I thought it was going to be smooth sailing. However, I learned something new every single day in this business.
I bet you do. Yeah. So how long after you went through the courses twice, you got there, you finally took the state exam, how long after that before you had your first closing?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe it was in February. So I got licensed in November, and I think my first closing was in February. Yep.
Okay.
So a couple months. Yep.
Yeah, less than 3 months. So that's congratulations on that. And here you are. So any memorable or funny experiences from your early days when you were still learning and didn't quite know what you were doing yet?
So my first contract that I ever wrote is very memorable because it took me 3 hours. Normally, now it takes me like 10 minutes. It took me 3 hours. I had no clue what I was doing. And I had an agent walking me step by step by step.
So the time that it takes to write contracts and get your handle on that there's like a big learning curve, obviously. So you mentioned that someone was there to support you and walk you through that contract process. So did you have a mentor in your office?
So the great thing about our office is we have like 40 some agents, 43, I think we have agents, and we have such a team atmosphere. Everybody helps each other. So there wasn't necessarily like a training or something like that. My broker loves to just throw you in the bathwater and get you wet. And so that's what he did. And you just kind of learn as you go and ask questions. And all the agents in this office are amazing. We love to help one another, and we work as a team. So it's really important to have a good support behind you.
Yeah, it sounds like your office has a really good community, and that's good, which is very important when you're new. Obviously, you learn that. So during that first year, did you find that you had any major challenges that you faced?
I had no boundaries. That was a big challenge because, as most of you know, if you've been in real estate, you know that people just want you whenever they want you, and you want to sell a house, so you're always available and you're always, jumping the gun. I mean, I stayed up till like 11 on the phone sometimes with people at night, and early in the morning, as early as 5:30 in the morning. And I just had no boundaries. I still kind of don't, but that also set me apart because a lot of people do have boundaries. And so it set me apart as a real estate agent to know that they could reach me anytime they needed me and whenever was convenient for them.
I can relate to that so much, and I think many other people can.
Yeah.
And that particular challenge is tough because obviously we want to be as communicative as possible with our clients, but balancing a social life, especially when you're doing so well in real estate, can be a little bit difficult. So, thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people will kind of find themselves in the same situation when they first start.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Danielle, I got to ask, here you are, you're a new agent. You in your first year, I believe, sold $9.8 million, like amazing. How'd you do it? Like, how'd you establish yourself as a new agent? We got to know.
There's a lot of different things I would say that I implemented and did. One of those being I just chased after it. Like if somebody seemed a little bit interested in the house, I would make them really interested in the house. So I would go to that house and I would take a video tour and send it to them. I did sell a home that way. They weren't planning on buying right away, and they're like, but we saw this house and we're really interested. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to swing by there and take a video and send it to you. If you really like it, you can come and see it. And that got them, excited about the house, just watching the video. And they're like, oh, we have to see this in person. And so they actually made the trip sooner than they thought they would. And they bought that house, and it is gorgeous. They've gone in there and renovated it, and it's awesome. But I've done that. I also have taken pride in the way I do business, always having a folder with all of the listings, having little pocket listings in there that maybe they didn't ask to see, but I thought might work for them, showing them different things too, because not always everybody knows what they actually want until they get out there and they start thinking through their lifestyle and their process and all that. But there's so many things. I can go on and on and on about this forever, about just different things in business to do to help create more business. Yeah.
How'd you establish credibility as a new agent?
Yeah, so I think because I had the personal experience of being a buyer and also a seller, I can relate to a lot of people. And I'm 46, I have 4 children. And so I just have a lot of relatable things. I love people generally, and I really want to see them. I'm not in it to just sell you a house. I want to see you happy in that place forever and longevity. So I'm not going to just, throw you into something that you're not going to be happy with long term. And I just feel that I'm relatable to a lot of people and a lot of different stages of life.
So when you started, did you target a particular audience? How'd you create your client list?
Yeah, so I did not. I just took all the leads that came into me and I chased after every single lead. The one thing that sets my brokers apart from most brokers too is that they do support us a lot with a lot of different avenues for a lot of different leads. And so this year is something that I'm trying to focus on is what is my niche, what do I really enjoy? But really, I just love everybody in every stage of life. And I think because I've been through so many stages of life, I can relate to a lot of people. So I hate to hone in on one thing, but, it helps to have a direction sometimes too.
And it sounds like you really establish relationships with your clients. And how do you do that? How do you build that relationship? How do you maintain that relationship with a client once you get them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I always tell them, you're never getting rid of me. You have me forever. I'm your family now. And I do once a month pop buys. So I have a company, a lender company that makes them for me. And it's just a little something to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, love you and your referrals, because that also is the greatest part of our business is personal referrals. And then I also throw a client party every year. So I throw an end of year client party, which nobody else actually in my brokerage does it. It does cost a lot of money, but I have affiliates help with that as well. But my clients love it. And it's my client appreciation party. That's what I've named it. And it's just great. I have live music. I have catered food. I have gifts for everybody. I have giveaways, and I just make it wonderful because I really do appreciate them for their business. And I want to continue our relationship. And so I'm always keeping in touch with them. Even if I'm just driving down the road, going to show another house and I think of a client off the top of my head, I give them a call and just talk to them and see how they're doing. And they love that.
I love the idea of that. I think that's so creative and a great way to stay connected. Not only will these people very likely continue to use you, they'll certainly send their friends, their family, their coworkers to you. Frankly, I want to be invited to this.
Yeah. Come by. Hey, Delaware is a good place to buy a second home. So
hey. Look, she's already working on me. So can you share a story about a client interaction that really stands out to you?
Oh man, there are so many client interactions that stand out to me. Wow, let me think of one in particular. So recently I've had a client that I sold a house to in Harrington. He has a house in New Jersey. And unfortunately, he's going through some really, really tough health battles. And he was in and out of the hospital. And even during inspection, he was really ill during inspection. While we were there, he has cancer and he was really going through a really hard time. But he was so incredibly joyful to buy this house because apparently his house in New Jersey is old and he has a lot of stuff in it. And he just wanted a new, fresh start, even while he's going through this extremely difficult time. We all know somebody who has been affected by cancer and how tough it can be, especially in the later stages of a cancer patient. So he was just so incredibly excited to buy this house. And I was so happy to secure it for him. It was a battle because there was multiple offers and it was a hard thing to secure. But I'm so thankful that he got it and he is absolutely happy about it. I just talked to him the other day and I'm going to go visit him at the end of the month. So I look forward to seeing what he's done with the place.
So I relate a lot to what you just said. I think that we work a lot with clients who are not always in the best situation when they're purchasing or selling their property, from selling a property after a loved one has passed to short sales before foreclosures and things like that. And so divorces and, I think being able to connect with someone and have that level of trust when they're going through something so important in their lives is key when you're working in real estate. And you seem like you're sort of perfect for something like that. So it's no surprise that you're so you're doing so well. So that being said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's kind of a hard question, but where do you think you see yourself in the real estate game?
Oh, like everybody, I have so many hopes and dreams, right? Of course, I want to be a multi-millionaire. No, I'm just kidding. Sort of, not sort of. Anyway, no, I really, I love Delaware. I'll always have a place in Delaware, but I do have a special place in my heart for Smith Mountain Lake, Virginia. So we had a lake house there before, and I would love to have another lake house there. And still have a place in Delaware and still sell in Delaware, of course. But so in 5 years, I see myself there. We are starting a new Lux division here. And I'm heading that up as well. And so I'm so excited about that. So I see that soaring in 5 years. I see no more lead generation, but all referrals in 5 years. And just enjoying life, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds great. And if you reach that multi-millionaire status, I'm sure those end of year parties will get more and more exciting. So I'm licensed in multiple states and I've moved around myself. So do you foresee yourself getting a license also in Virginia at some point?
I don't think so. I think if I ever do actually move to Virginia, I think I'll probably just retire there and not want to be selling anymore. But you never know. I mean, I do love Virginia, a lot about Smith Mountain Lake. If you've never been there, you have to look it up. It's an amazing place. But I do love a lot about it, and I'd be happy to sell homes for the rest of my life and never retire. So maybe.
That's the great thing about real estate. I mean, you don't really have to retire necessarily. The broker that I worked under, she worked until she was 88 years old. So do you have any tips or tricks that you would like to share with any aspiring real estate agents that are going to be watching this?
Absolutely. I have a lot that I continually tell myself. I learn something new every day. So just always be open-minded, and don't think you know everything, because you don't, and you'll find that out. And then always seek advice and seek training and continuing education. It's always important to stay up on all the rules that are going on in real estate, and the many changes that we all have experienced, even recently with forms and new regulations, all of that stuff. There's a ton of advice I can give you. Slow down. We are an instant gratification world, and we want everything done right away. And sometimes that leads to mistakes on a lot of them. So I have it on my board. Slow down. Check for signatures. And also be yourself, but present yourself well. Like dress up when you go and you show a house. People respect you when you respect them and their time, and you show up professionally. So those are the things, main key things. I can go on for days about it, but yeah, those are the main key things.
Those are great tips. Absolutely fantastic. I am sure that our audience is going to appreciate those for sure. So we're going to jump into our lightning round. We do this every episode. A couple of quick questions, 60 seconds or less. Just give us the first thing that pops in your head. And I'm going to start with, what's your favorite dish to serve at your big client parties every year?
Number one, I do not cook. Or bake, actually. I have other people do it for me. So my favorite dish is what somebody else makes.
Perfect. That's great. And I'm sure it's fantastic and very smart, very smart. Is there a book or a podcast that you'd recommend for the audience?
There are several that I have listened to. Atomic Habits is my first one. We actually have a book club here at our brokerage too. So fun. So I love that and would highly recommend it. As a team, it's a team bonding thing to do. And also it just helps you in your business. There is a book. Am I allowed to curse on this pod?
I say anything goes. Okay. Keep going.
The book is The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it's really not about that. It's about paying attention to things that are really important. That's what it's really about. It's not just not giving a care, but like sometimes we get, as real estate agents, we get emotionally involved in the things. And it's really, you have to keep the emotion out of the transaction and really think through things and try to negotiate and try to help all parties involved. But it's really about caring about what is important.
I actually have that book right over there. I'm staring at it.
It's a really good book. It really is. Yeah. And the one I'm reading right now is not real estate related, but it is actually Younger Next Year, and it's all about health and wellness. And I mean, that's a really good thing for you to be healthy when you are out and about and you're dragging yourself to the ground most days. You need to take care of yourself. So.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. All of those, like great reminders about how to live life. So if you had a time machine and you could go back to the day you started this journey in real estate, what advice would you give yourself?
Don't take things personally. That's the biggest one because people, get very involved and emotionally involved, and everybody always wants to blame things on people. And I take things so personally because I want the transaction to go smoothly. I don't want anything to go wrong. But that's not always the case. And you just need to not take it personally. So building tough skin is important in this business.
That's great advice in real estate or anywhere in life, right? Really good advice. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, the first person that came to my mind is my mother-in-law. Oh my gosh, I just got all emotional. She passed 3 years ago almost now, and she was only 64 years old, and she was such a godly woman. I miss her, and I would love to sit down and have a conversation with her.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So we'll keep moving.
Yeah.
Tell us about, I know, before we all get upset. So tell us about what you did at work yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. My gosh, that was a busy day. Can I remember yesterday? Can I talk about today?
No, I don't know the difference, but yeah.
So I definitely had I had a home inspection yesterday. I don't usually attend, but this was a unique situation and I felt like I needed to be there. So I was there at the home inspection, and then I came back and had some showings later that day, and I also came back and followed up with all of my leads because that is a huge thing in this business. For one advice, follow up. You need to follow up. So I was doing that yesterday for a good bit of time.
It's a good day. It's a good day in real estate when you're busy, right?
For sure.
So Danielle, where can viewers contact you or follow your journey?
Sure. So I am on Instagram. I am also on TikTok, and I'm also on Facebook, and I have a real estate page on there. And you can also find me on Danielle.searchdelawarehomelistings.com.
Perfect.
Great. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing your journey and even getting a bit personal with us. I know that your story is going to inspire other, agents starting out in their career. I'm 20 years in, and just hearing you talk has sort of re-inspired me even.
Aww.
So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to UnlockingRealEstate@ColibriRealEstate.com.